Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. As long as it's light out, I always think it's afternoon. And I see Bonnie is here. Welcome. Glad you were able to get in.
Thank you, Beth.
Okay. So, Today, before we start, one of the things that I kind of was noticing is that there are moments for me when I feel as if I've opened up. And by opening up, it's just that there's those momentary times, probably not the best way to put it, but there are sort of moments in my day or when it seems like everything is open to me. And I had one of those moments this morning, which I thought was quite interesting for me. And so I think it's related to my, meditation. I think there's a linkage between the two, but just what happened this morning is I was up and I was getting ready to go to my class at the Oshkosh Y. I had about 20 minutes in between. And so I was reading some poetry, which is something I do to help me write my poetry. And I was reading Adrian Rich, who is a poet from the mid 20th century. And all of a sudden, it was like I just felt wide open. So I quickly ran to my notebook and I wrote out a whole poem, a page, just let it kind of emerge, which is not typically how I write. Usually it's a longer process for me. I struggle over the words somewhat. And what was interesting is I got it out and I just finished it. I let it go and I let it sit. And then over the course of the day, I was able to refine it and I tried to write it a little bit in the style that I was reading. That's one of the reasons I like to do that. But I think the key for me was rather than kind of getting caught on words or where it's going or does this sound right, I just sort of let it flow and be there and sort of took my own advice that I give sometimes where let it rise, let it come, see it, examine it, and let it go. And that's kind of what I did. And then as I came back to it to sort of refine it, to clean it up, because it needed cleaning and it needed some alterations. It didn't have the flow that I liked. But all in all, I was able to write it and it went relatively quickly. And my wife thought it was good, so we'll see if anybody else thinks so. But I think the key point for me was how that activity for me sort of translates better when I'm able to open myself up. And that's one of the experiences that seem to come a little more frequently for me since I've been really focusing on my meditation more and really focusing into it. And in some ways, it feels kind of personally liberating that I could just let it out there without sort of, is this good enough? Is this bad enough? Does it say it right? Is it the right language? Is it the right word? It really is kind of that freeing. And I noticed that even like in my teaching of my class today, it felt more open for me. So, as I think about the experience and how that feels and what that leads me to, it really kind of reinforces the idea of how, for me, the meditation really sort of works its magic in a sense. So I just thought I would share that with everybody before we began. So, all right. Well, with that, let me get my watch going and we will begin the meditation. All right. So let's get settled in our seats, get ourselves comfortable, sit back, find that comfortable spot, and start as always with a deep breath. And we breathe in and out and around, and we breathe out. And we settle ourselves in, and we, in a sense, melt into our environment. And when I think of melting into the environment, it is, in a sense, becoming whole with everything that is around us. So I think about all of my senses when I think about that sense of wholeness. I think about my vision, and even though my eyes are closed, I can still see things. There are images that cross my mind, whether they be images or pictures or whatever it is, they sort of flash across. And so I'm there with them. And then I think about my tactile sensation, feeling the chair, feeling the weight of my body on the chair, and the pressure points and how they come together, and the feeling of the fabric on my hands, and the feeling of how my back leans against the chair, and how my chair tilts back ever so slightly and has a little bit of roll to it so I can move back and forth. So I'm aware of the motion. So we can be aware of the motion and any movement that we have. And I think about the temperature in the room and in my office where I do the meditation in this place. It's cool because it's downstairs and there's a certain coolness and a slight bit of dampness to the room that I feel. So I sense that coolness and that moisture on my body. And it's quiet here as it's away from the house and nobody else is on this floor. And so I sense the quiet. I can actually hear the quiet in the background as it's an actual sound that sort of reverberates through me. And it places me in this place. I can smell the dampness, the slight dampness of this room that I'm in. And I get a sense of the odor and the smell and the fragrance in the room. And so as I use all of those senses, I ground myself in my place, in my moment, in my time. And we want to start by bringing us there. And then the final piece of that puzzle for me, in terms of being mindful, being aware, being in the moment, being in the place, is my mind. And for me, as I engage in a guided meditation, as I create the story and the environment for us, I just allow what's ever in my mind to rise and come across. So today I feel a sense of openness, as I've talked about in the opening. And I let that come up, and whatever follows it and where I want to lead us through the meditation, I let it rise. And so whatever is in you, just let it rise and kind of see it and place it in the context of where you are and ground yourself. And always as we kind of go through a cycle of checking where we are, checking where our mind is, being aware of our place, we breathe in to recenter ourselves and to refocus so that that focus that we have, we don't lose. I think of it like an old television set sometime for those of us that can remember before we were plugged into the internet or a cable, when you just had rabbit ears on a television and occasionally it would get out of focus and you would have to refocus the television set to get that clearer picture, or sometimes the picture would roll or the horizontal would go sideways, or the white snow of the static would come across. And you'd have to hit the dials almost as a reset. And I think of the hitting of the dials as my breath as I breathe in. And it clarifies the picture and keeps me in the moment. And so I'm always adjusting as I'm aware when I get out of focus. And I use my breath to bring us back to that focus and to bring yourself back to that focus. And so I sit and I feel settled and I feel a sense of calmness kind of come over me today. Things have been easy in a sense today. They've been gentle. I feel almost like today I've been sitting on a rowboat or perhaps a slightly larger boat on a lake, on a calm day, when there isn't a lot of movement, but what I'm keying into as I sit on that boat is the slight movement of the boat up and down as it just drifts wherever the current, however little it is, wants to take me. And I feel that movement, not a heavy movement, a light movement, kind of like I feel like my mind moves. Slow waves, things arising and settling, and hearing the lapping of the waves kind of up on the side of the boat. No motor on the boat, just all natural. Perhaps a small sail on the boat, not a large one, so that the boat can drift and move. But I don't want to touch the sail. I don't want to direct where I'm going. For the moment, I just want the wind and the current to just go, as if that just arises, almost similar to how thoughts and feelings and emotions just kind of rise up. And so the boat drifts in whatever direction it wishes to go. And the wind flies off, and I can see the shoreline around me. And I envision the shoreline to be filled with trees, both deciduous trees and coniferous trees. So we have leaves and we have pines. And as I'm drifting, I can sense the odor of all of those trees, the freshness of them as they roll across in the wind, almost like an air freshener that you would have in your house that is pine scented or cedar scented, that artificial. This is closer to nature, something real, as if you can sense the growth in the trees and the life in the trees through the odor that they give off. And I key into that smell, and I can smell the green as if I can see the color through the way that I sense the odor. I can see the color, I can see the different shades of green. I can feel, in a sense, the texture of the leaves without touching them. It's as if my memory rises that texture to my fingers, and I can feel them, the sheen of the leaves, the crackly feeling of them, the pine needles, the sharpness at the edge, as if I can touch it, and it's almost like a little pin that touches the edge of my fingertips. And I watch from the boat that I'm in, and I see the shoreline, and I see these trees and these leaves. And as I'm sitting there, and as I'm just drifting, I close my eyes in the boat, and I feel the motion and the movement. And I sense the life beneath me in the water, the fish, the movement of the fish, even the little insects that skim on top of the water. I can sense them, I can see their movement. And it calms me down, and it slows me down. The wind is almost still, so the boat is moving very slightly. And I match my thoughts to the movement of the boat. I just take it in. And every time the boat rises, it's as if a thought rises. And every time the boat drops, it's as if a thought moves away. And it's kind of a continual progression. Thoughts arising, rolling across, seeing them, dropping with the boat. And I hear the sound. And as I hear each sound of the waves lapping against the boat, another thought arises. And I can see it and look at it. And the beauty of these thoughts as they arise is I can see them as if they're outside of me, to examine them. I can see their color. I can see their height. I can see them almost in 3D images. And I can see all their components, their connection to my past, their impact on my future. And then they just roll away. And I stay in the boat. And I drift with it. And I open my eyes to look around. I look up, and the sky is crystal clear blue, very bright. If I think about that television at the beginning with its fuzziness and its vertical hold, not holding, and the static on it, but when I look up into the sky, it's as if I've plugged into the crystal clearest vision of anything that I can see. And somehow, even though it's daylight, I can imagine and see and sense the stars behind the day. It's almost like by slowing everything down, by being present exactly in the moment, the invisible is revealed to me. The stars, the planets, the meteorites that are floating through the sky, through the galaxy, even the debris left by space flights. I can sense and see they're floating across outside the edge of the galaxy to the end of the universe. I can see the bend almost like the horizon on what goes on to infinity. And so when I see this, I then turn all of that from outward and I turn it inward to myself. And as I turn it inward and I look inside, I can open up all that was closed to me, all the things I kept in my treasure chest, in the safe, tucked away in the suitcase in the corner of the closet, tucked away under years of paper, all of those things that I hold, they start to open up, almost like a giant collage in front of me. And I'm open to all of that experience. And the beauty for me of that opening, of seeing it all at once, is I can see it in a sense as it is, without thinking about that was painful, and that was beautiful, and I missed that, and that's gone. And I can see it as present, as there, because it is there for me, and it has created the way that I see everything. And it floats in front of me. It's like a globe just turning, presenting to me all that's inside of me. And it frees me. It liberates me. It opens me up to be able to see what's in front of me. And as I sit, I come back to my breath to refocus myself, to refocus my energies, to refocus my mind, to keep it clear, to be able to see that crystal clear blue sky, or if it turns to night, that pitch black, crystal clear darkness that surrounds me and everything that's contrasted to it. The brightness of the stars, perhaps the light of some cabins or houses on the shoreline, or somebody who has a fire going and seeing the smoke rise straight up and being absorbed by the clarity that I now have. And my breath and my focus allow me to see this. It's as if they've given me a gift, that my mind has given me a gift of openness, a gift of sight, a gift of being able to see through the haze and through the smoke and through the clutter in something that is just clear. I think of an ice cube in a glass of water and how it's clear and how I can see it and how it floats on the water. And I can see right through the clear water. Everything it feels like has been revealed to me, as if for a moment I can see all that there is, all connected and all together. Again, like a collage, a piece of art, an artwork that combines everything into this large canvas. And I sit back and I place myself back in my chair and I sense the chair and I move back and back to all of my senses. And I keep myself grounded in all the senses that I have. And I stay put in the present moment. And I sense no future and no past. There only is now. And it is a comforting thought. And I'm filled with a sense of gratitude for the sight that I've gained in opening myself up. And I come back to my breath always as the cleanser, as the Windex on the window shield, on the window as I clean off the dust, as the Windex that I put on the mirror to be able to see the reflection of what is really there, as a little wipe that I use to clean my glasses so the dust of the day is settled. And I feel open and gratitude for being able to have that experience, to being open to that experience. When I come back to my breath, and I come back to the place that I am, and I relax my body, and I focus myself, I let my shoulders drop. I loosen whatever tightness I may have felt. I become aware of any little tightness, tension, and I work to let it go, to let it rise up into that crystal clear sky, into being able to see all the little dots in front of me, the openness of it. And I realize my view can extend from straight ahead to 90 degrees to 180 degrees, all the way to 360 degrees, as if I can see all around me, even with my eyes closed. I can sense it all. I can feel it on my neck and on my back, and I drift into it. I become part of it. It becomes part of me. And so we come back and we sit and we take a deep breath in and out. And we focus for a moment and we breathe in and focus on our breath in silence, centering ourselves and keeping ourselves in that centered place. So I breathe in and I breathe out. And I breathe in and I breathe out. And namaste. May the light in me shine in you.